everyone, Phoenix Knight here. Welcome to the channel, and welcome to a new playthrough on the channel. After we built a much quieter version of Arkham last week in Welcome To, we're going to step into the world of dreams as we play Lucidity Six-Sided Nightmares from Foxtail Games. Our goal in this game is to escape the dream world by gaining power from our dreams. In order to win, we either need to have 15 power or 2 per nightmare awakened, and I'll explain more about how that works when we get over to the board. We also lose if any of the nightmares in the game are awakened twice. We're going to play with a Kickstarter exclusive in this playthrough. I didn't actually back this Kickstarter, but I found a full copy of the Kickstarter at my local game store for quite cheap, and I couldn't pass it up. So the way the game's going to work is we're actually going to draw random dice out of a bag. They're in 4 different colors, and each do different things, which I'll also explain when we get over to the board. So this is just a card reference of the different dice we'll have. We'll have blue dice, Dreams of the Depths, green dice, Dreams of Envy, yellow dice for Dreams of Imprisonment, and Dreams of Primeval Fear in red. Those are the faces that will be on the dice. You can pause the video there so you can take a quick look at those. One die that's not represented on here is actually the Kickstarter exclusive we're going to play with. We're going to play with these white dice known as the Shadow Hunters. Now, this is a very dangerous type of die to have in the bag, because if we draw them out, we won't be able to return them to the bag. We'll have to face them. But as you might have seen, there are numbers on the dice. That's the power that we'll need to win the game. Without dropping the dice, I'll show you that these dice also have power on them. It's a 2. That should be the 4, assuming the camera wants to focus. But there are 2 faces that we'll see on here. There's the Hunt face, which is also on the red die, which is another way we can potentially lose the game. But there's a very dangerous face on these. That's the Shadow Hunter face. I don't remember what it's actually called. Let me just take a quick look here. Okay. So it's actually called the Shadow Mark. So the way this die works is if we roll that on our roll, then we actually end up needing one less shadow to become a one less spook to become a nightmare, which is what the eye icon is essentially. So yeah, that's the Shadow Mark. That's the very dangerous icon that we don't want to see come out of the bag. So we're going to throw all 8 of these into our bag, give it a quick mix up. Try to mix it up so we get a nice wide variety of dice in there. That'll do for now. With that, let's take a quick stop over at the board and take a look at and finish setting everything up. In the solo mode, we have these various boogeymen that we can play against. So it'll be 2 rows of dice, which I've already set up. In this case, we're playing against the Lady of Primeval Fear. We're not going to use the hard mode. So when you resolve a hunt, when we get either, where are they? A red die or one of the Shadow Hunters. So when we resolve either one of these types of hunts, we can return any 2 spooks to the bag. So that's what these eye faces are, if whoever wants to focus. There we go. So those are the spooks. We'll put that back there. And I'll explain more about how it works, but suffice it to say, I'm not particularly happy with the current color setup. So as we accumulate power on our board, and I'll point this out when we get down to the board, we can actually spend that after we rest to go ahead and try to reroll some of those islands of power off. But as you can see, we don't have very many islands of power, islands of spooks based on the color. The only things we've got are basically 3 islands. We got 2 blues and a yellow island, so we need to be very mindful of that. So maybe trying to get some of those under control. But let's go ahead and tip the camera down so we can see our board. I'll zoom out a touch. This icon is just to represent what current level we're dreaming at. So I mentioned the hunt track up here. If this gets filled with 4 of those hunt icons, we lose the game. The exhaustion track is a way to force the turn over. So if we get 3 dice in that row, then we're forced to rest. So at that point, we can either return everything from the exhaustion row or any one spook. But if we end up ending the turn because we're exhausted, then we actually have to draw a random die out of the bag and lose a power of that type. Except if we pull out one of the Bone Hunters. If we pull one of the Bone Hunters out, then I presume that power would stay, because those dice get locked wherever they go. Then we've got the sleep track on here. We've got 3 different levels. So for each round, we'll move along that track. So if we start at Dreaming 3, we'll draw 3 dice, return 2 of them, and roll the 3rd one. Then 5 and 7, same for the 4 and 5 tracks. Then we've got the power down here. This is one of the overlays that I have with this Kickstarter, and I'm not completely in love with it. I'm not sure if it's supposed to set like that, or there's supposed to be a little bit of give on there, but looks like we've got all that straight. Then we've got the various tracks. We've got the depths tracks. The text might be a little bit hard to read on this neoprene mat, but we'd have to draw and resolve 1 dream when we put a spook there. So that means we draw another die out of the bag and then roll it. Envy, reroll 1 power of one dream of the next player's choice. So the way that works in the solo game, I think, is we just reroll something. Okay, so instead reroll the first dream in your power row. I think, except if that is a Shadow Hunter. At least I think there's something on there about it being locked. Right, so once one is on your Dreamer card. Okay, so the exception is if you die or become a nightmare, you return any Bone Hunters to the bag if you would ordinarily be required to. Okay, so if we end up with looks like we end up with anything in the hunt row, that does come off the board. So I think, yes. Okay. All right, so we've got that. Imprisonment rotates an exhaustion die to its spook face. Those are in yellow. And then red, you can move red spooks over to the space on the hunt track, but this is dangerous to do because we'll probably need those hunt spaces to be able to try to reroll some of the islands that we have on the spook card. But I think everything is all set here, so let's go ahead and get into this playthrough. I've also got the 4 nightmares in shot, so as one wakes up, I think what I'll do is I'll probably put those along this side, just so I know what nightmares have been awakened, so that way I know what dice I can return to the bag and which ones I can't. So, looking at our current color situation, I think I kind of want to try to win this game quickly, because I'm not going to likely have too many opportunities for rerolls. So I think we're going to go big, and we're immediately going to dream on the 5 track. So I'm going to go into the bag, pull 5 dice out, One, two, three, four, 5. So I got 1 of each color except for a yellow, which I got 2 of. Now, remembering that I'm going to need blue and yellow dice right now to reroll, but red's got the power on it. So I think what we're going to do here is I'm going to return a green and a yellow to the bag. Then I'll roll these, and we'll see what happens. Whoop. We'll roll it in the tray. Okay, so my roll was a My roll was 1 yellow power, a hunt, and a blue spook. So I'll take the power onto my tray. I'll use a hunt, which since I'm putting a hunt on the track, I actually get to defeat 2 spooks. So I think what we'll do is we'll take, and I think anytime you remove spooks, you have to I think for that you have to reposition them evenly. So if I'm taking that, then I want to go, I think we'll take these 2 off. Then we'll shift everything down, which does create another green island. Actually creates another green island and it makes my blue island a little bit bigger. Then I have to take a blue spook, so I'll have to draw another dream and roll it. Alright, that's a blue die, which is not terrible. I can potentially use that to get an island of blue out of the way. Not with a roll like that, so I end up with another blue die, which means I have to draw and resolve again. Oh, delightful. We drew a bone hunter. And we got the shadow mark. So that means now I need to be very careful around blue dice, because one more as of right now means I awaken the blue nightmare right away, and that would be very problematic. So I guess the question now is, do I push my luck and continue to roll? I think I will here, even though I know my relationship with Lady Luck is not great. So now I'll drop 7 dice out of the bag. One, two, 3. 4, 5, 6. 7. So I definitely want to return the blue dice to the bag, because I don't want to just have the blue nightmare wake up right here. And we'll roll these. Okay, that's a little more useful. So I'll take a green power, then a blue one. Then I have another hunt, which is unfortunate, but I do get to return 2 spooks to the bag. So I'll take the... I'll take this red and this yellow out, so everything will shift down, which actually doesn't really break up my islands all that much. Then I have to put this die on the exhaustion track, and then this die and then the red spook goes to the primeval fear track, which I can move that to my hunt track, but given that I've got 2 already, I'm going to pass on that. Alright, so now I have to decide if I want to rest or... Okay, so looks like I get to... Okay, so I actually will spend my yellow power to reroll this island of yellow dice. We'll see what I can do with that. Anything that turns into a power gets returned to the bag. Anything else goes right back on there. Alright, so 1 yellow power goes back, and then the 2 yellow dice go back on in their normal spot, which is actually a little bit of a problem because it breaks up my blue island, but I don't think I can help that. I think I got to spend the blue power as well to try to re-roll this island of blues, because if I end up with another blue spook on here, I just become the blue nightmare. So I've got to try. That was a cocked die. Let's get that in the tray. Okay, well, I tried. So I'll return the exhaust die and the spook back. That'll become a 1. Then I think there I will rest. So I will actually return one of the blue spooks to the bag, which means these come over. These dice don't get resolved as they come onto the track, but they do count toward potentially becoming nightmares, toward me becoming a nightmare. So everything shifts down. I've still got one Shadow Hunter on me, so I think we might as well start again with another 5. Try to see if we can try to get rid of some of these. I want to try to break up that. I want to try to keep that last blue dream off. Well, actually, no, I think we're fine with the blue for now. Let's see. Uh-oh. I've pulled one too many, so I'm going to return them all to the bag and draw again. I thought I only had 5, but I had 6. Oh boy, that's a 1, 2, 3, 4. So I only need one more. 5. Okay, well, the Shadow Hunter has to stay out. I'm already facing the possibility of at least one. I'm already facing the possibility of at least one hunt. So, like I said, the Shadow Hunter's got to stay. Given that I'm already facing at least one hunt and 2 would lose me the game, I'm going to return the 2 red dice to the bag. Okay, that kind of works. So the yellow die goes, the power dice will go there, and then I did get a Bone Hunter power. Unfortunately, I did pull an exhaustion marker, so that means my turn is already over. So I have to draw 1 die from the bag and lose all power of that type except if it's a Bone Hunter. So I'm forced to rest, which means I'll return all 3 of my exhaustion markers. And I lose my blue power, but fortunately I didn't have any blue power to lose. So green and blue both moved down, which means green and blue are now both dangerous colors for me. So everything there moves down. And then I think we'll have to dream at 5 dice again. Even though I'm tempted to, well, let me think about this for a minute. So I'm starting to get down pretty low already. But yeah, we might as well dream at least once. Let's go for 5. I may try to re-roll that. Well, that yellow I'm not worried about, but the green I am. Okay, that's 1, 2, 3. Four, 5. All right, so looking at this configuration, I think I want 2 of the red to go back because I don't want to face another situation of 2 hunts. All right, so I get to put a power on the track, so I'm up to 5. I get 1 die in the exhaustion track and 1 on the yellow dream. Or the yellow nightmare. I'll actually spend this yellow die so I can re-roll these 2 dice, which will move me down to which will move a blue down, assuming this works. But I have to take that risk right now. And we get nothing out of it. I'll actually spend my other yellow power to try my luck again. And no better. That's unfortunate. Delightful. So I'm going to have 2 nightmares potentially wake up next turn. We'll spend to go to 7. One, two, three, and one of them is a Shadow Hunter, so I am going to have to face that. Four, five, six, seven. Okay, I'm actually in a very bad situation right now. So the Shadow Hunter has to stay. I could use a hunt to... I could potentially use a hunt to try to clear some of these spooks on my sheet. So I think the play here is going to be to keep the red dice. And I've got a green and a yellow moving down. Yikes. So I'll return the green dice. Not that there's a real good play right now. But if I can at least get some yellow power, I may try to re-roll the spooks on the spook sheet again. Well, never. Okay, so I will take the red power, which I'll have to immediately spend so I can re-roll this hunt. Because if I take both hunts, I just lose. Okay, there's a 1 power, so I can deal with that. Then I have to take a third shadow hunt. I have to take a third hunt, which does let me kill 2 spooks, though, so that's something. Which I'll take the blue and green spooks out on my sheet. Then I add an exhaustion track to the... An exhaustion die to the exhaustion track, and a yellow nightmare to imprisonment. And I think there I will rest. I'll return one of my red hunts to the bag. I'll move that over. Then these come down. The green die goes there. The yellow dice come off. And I've now awakened the yellow nightmare. So you can ignore the text on the card because the nightmares work differently in the solo mode. So that can go over here, which now means I can't return yellow dice to... I now can't return yellow dice to the bag when they come out. So now that I'm starting to get down to it, and I know I only need three nightmares, 3 spooks now to become a nightmare in a certain color. Now I kind of want to start controlling my rolls a little bit more. So I'll go down to 4. I think that should be 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep. Alright, so I have to keep the yellow. Which one do I want to keep? I think we'll keep the blue. That way I can try to re-roll that blue island that's coming up. Alright, that's tempting. Which I'll actually take the blue power, and then the yellow nightmare goes on the yellow track. So I will spend the blue power to try to re-roll this blue island. That was not helpful. Alright, I almost have to go to 6 here because I need to try to get some yellow power so I can try to re-roll at least one of those yellow spooks. But there's also a risk of, if I roll another exhaustion, my turn's over. But I'm not going to win this game by basically sitting back. See, 1, 2, 3, and I've got 2 dice in there already that I can't return. Four, 5, 6. Wonderful. So the yellow and the 2 yellow and the Shadow Hunter can't be returned. Of the rest of these, I think I want to kick the green back, because I really need blue power right now. So let's see what happens here. Okay, that kind of went about as catastrophic. Well, yeah, that kind of went about as badly as I thought it could. So we have to take the power. So we actually should be at 5 power right now. The shadow mark goes on here, so now I only need 2 spooks to awaken a nightmare, which actually means I'm just going to lose the game right here, because that'll be a 3rd die on the exhaustion track, so I will lose power. A 2nd die there, which means I draw and resolve a dream. This is mostly for funsies at this point. The game's over at this point. It's another blue die, which is another spook. Then the yellow spook and goes on there. And because I have 2 yellow dice, but I had 2 shadow marks on my player mat, the green and the blue and green nightmares would both awaken, but because I only needed 2 spooks, the yellow nightmare actually wakes up again, and because I'd already awakened it once, I lose the game. So that's the first playthrough of Lucidity. I think I can probably reset this and go again. So I'll turn the camera off, do another round of setup, and then we'll try this again. See if I have a little better luck. Looking at our situation on the Lady of Primeval Fear, excuse me, we ended up with a much better situation in terms of our color islands. So we got a red group of 2 up here, then we got a couple of blue groups of 2 down here, but our biggest highlight right now is this green group of 5, and I like to see some green power early to try to do some damage on that. So let's dream big and go for a 5. So we'll go into the bag and get our dreams. One, 2, 3, 4, 5. So of course we have to keep the Shadow Hunter. And I think I'm going to kick a blue and a red back. Mostly so I can try to break up some of these little blue islands. But let's see what happens here. Nothing good. So the shadow mark's back again, which means we only need 3 shadows to become... We need only 3 shadows to become a nightmare. So the blue spook goes over. And we draw another blue die. This isn't going to take long, is it? Not with rolls like that. So another blue spook. Okay, there's a red die for a change. Wow, we're off to a great start. Another blue spook goes over. Another red die. A hunt. That's kind of welcome. Mostly because I can use that to kill these 2 spooks, return them to the bag. Then a red goes over to the Nightmare of Primeval Fear, and I'm going to leave it there. We'll go up to 7 because I still want to try to break up this green. Because I still want to try to break up that green island if I can. And 1 drop. But I see a Shadow Hunter in there. That I will have to face. 6. And 7. So the Shadow Hunter I have to face. I'll return the 2 yellow because I want to try to, like I said, I still want to try to break up that island of green dice if I can. Well, that's moderately helpful. Unless I want to take the green die and spend it to reroll one of these dreams. Yeah, we'll reroll this green one. Get another power. We'll spend that to reroll this one. Okay, that I'm gonna end up losing it to reroll something anyway. So I'll just spend it to reroll this green dream and keep it as a power. Now I might be tempted to turn it on this island. But I get a hunt up here, which will send those 2 back to the bag. And then I will spend the green power to try to break up this island. Remember, any power I roll here goes back into the bag. Wow, okay, so I get 3 of them back. I get 3 of them into the bag. And that goes there. I'll put that there, and then we'll shift all of these down to fill in some gaps. Which means I've now picked up a blue island of 3. Actually, I picked up a blue island of 4. This L shape down here. So the question is, do I want to rest here and get rid of a hunt? Or do I want to dream again? I think I'll just play it safe and rest here. So I'll return that hunt. The Shadow Hunter, of course, stays. These 2 come down. Blue spook, green on the exhaustion track. Those shift down. Then we'll start again by dreaming at 5 again. Going into the bag. One, 2, 3, 4. Five, no blue power, which I wouldn't have minded seeing to try to break some of the blue stuff up. I guess we'll return a green and a yellow. Then we'll roll all of this. Okay, so that's 2 green power and a green die and a red exhaustion die. Given that I've already got 2 exhaustion dice coming into the turn, I think I'm just going to rest here, play it safe, and take these 2 off of the board, which means these return here, and then that goes there. I still want to see some blue power if I can get my hands on it to try to re-roll at least these 2 blue dice. So I'll dream at 5 again to start a new round. Or start a new night of sleep, essentially. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. And 5. I think we'll return the 2 yellows because I do want to see at least, I wouldn't mind seeing at least 1 hunt here. Because that's another way I can get rid of those 2 blue spooks that would be coming onto the sheet. Ask and ye shall receive. So I'll take the 2 power. Then I'll take the hunt, which will get rid of these 2 spooks. Shift everything down. And then that moves over there. I can move it to the hunt track, but I'm not going to. Do I want to try to dream big, or... I've actually got the board pretty well in decent control right now. I'm not going to need green power for anything right now because I don't have any more green dreams on the... I don't even have any more green spooks on the spook sheet. The safe option would probably be to get one of those blue spooks off because I've got 2 more coming. And I know I only need 3 right now to become a nightmare. So I think here I will rest and get rid of one of these blue spooks. I'm not in danger of becoming either the red or the yellow nightmare right now. All those shift down. I've got 4 power, which is long. I can have up to 2 nightmares wake up and still win this playthrough. So I think here we're going to drop down to... I think here we're going to drop down to 3. Start dreaming a little bit less deeply. Because I do want to stay in control at this point. 1, 2, 3. We'll see what we've got here. Okay, so we've got a yellow, green, and blue. I'm not going to need green power. Blue's a bit dicey just because I've got the... I'm going to keep the blue anyway. If I can get a power, I can try to re-roll these 2 and break that up. Perfect. So I'll take it as a power, and then I'll spend it immediately to roll this island of blue dice. 1 can go back to the bag, the other stays out. Now I've got a decision to make, because now I can spend this 2 power in red to try to re-roll this off, but I'm actually in a pretty safe spot right now, I think. So here I think I'll rest, and I'll return one of these red spooks to the bag, and then these 2 will come down, get another yellow out, and then those 2 will shift down for what should be the last turn of the game, barring anything crazy. So I'll dream at 3 once again. One, 2, 3. All right, any of these are particularly dangerous, so I think here I will actually take a yellow. So we'll go ahead and give this a roll. That's an exhaustion die, so here I will actually rest and play it very safe. So that comes down. Those would actually wake up the Nightmare of Primeval Fear. But since the spook sheet is empty, let me just double check the win condition. I think it's either... If it's either 15 power, or after the last spook is moved to my Dreamer card, 2 power per Nightmare Awakened. So I only had 1 Nightmare Wake Up, which means I had 4 power. So I did win that playthrough. But I think that is where we're going to wrap this video up. So I went 1-1 on playthroughs tonight of Lucidity. So yeah, that will do it for this playthrough of Lucidity 6-Sided Nightmares. Barring anything crazy, I'll be having another busy week on the channel. So barring anything crazy, I expect Mystical Munchies to be back to its regular day on Saturday, but it looks like it'll be a morning episode as we make the entree out of the Wow New Flavors of Azeroth cookbook, Cocoa Flat Cakes. As for the games, Sunday we'll see the 3rd and final scenario for the spring campaign in Arkham Horror, the card game, as we face off with the Devourer below. And next week, we'll go from the World of Dreams to the Canadian Wilderness as we play Call of Cthulhu, Alone Against the Frost. Thank you for watching the video. Please give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Be sure to turn on notifications so you get my content. Be well, stay safe, take care of yourselves and your loved ones, and I'll be back with more videos in the future. Until then, Take care, everyone.